Arey bhai, he's not from IIT. He's just a B.Tech from somewhere else. And even if he's from IIT, does that give him license to, preach wrong information, pseudoscientific
Yep.
information?
Science is seen even in schools as just a means to an end. Study this, get your marks, get your rank, get your college, and get your job. Then you can make money.
We actually talked for 2.5 hours, and then I realized, oh, we haven't recorded the actual final intro. So then I said, okay, let it be, doesn't matter. Then I recorded a separate intro. Why you didn't teach history like that, like Yuval Noah Harari does? I cringed that much on another word, which is scope. स्कोप किस में है? स्कोप वाला चीज बताइए. अरे भाई, स्कोप, there's no such thing as scope.
The reason religion still exists is only because of childhood indoctrination. So all I'm doing personally, and all you're doing, and all the people in our community, we're all doing, is telling people, hey, this is the thing that we have learned and understood. And if you don't believe me, you can look at the same thing in any other source. By the way, all my sources are down in the description. Based on this is how things are. Anyone who says otherwise is trying to fool you for money or your votes
Absolutely.
or whatever. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's all that we're trying to do. And
Yeah.
see, that's the thing. In contrast, if we compare this with, say, some religious ideas or whatever, religion or some other cult, pseudoscientific cult or whatever, there is always a class structure, or there is always this thought of you know internal knowledge or thoughts within the group, ideas of the group, and they are protective of it. Like even
Yeah.
in religious class hierarchy also, you can see so certain knowledge was restricted to certain sections of society. It's the same in cults also. And
Yeah.
they behave as if certain kinds of knowledge are a secret in a
Secret
way.
knowledge. Yeah. True.
Yeah, there's no such thing. All knowledge is for everyone.
Yeah.
The sad fact is, the sad truth is, we all have only 100 something years to live, and we can't possibly learn everything there is to learn. So
If
some
you're
of us
lucky.
specialize in, yeah, some
Yeah.
of
If you're
us
lucky.
specialize in certain things, but all knowledge is for everyone. Anyone can learn anything, and
Absolutely.
if someone is telling you otherwise, then they're trying to fool you and take your money, get your vote.
Like you said, absolutely. There's no secret knowledge as such. Like, anybody can learn anything in this day and age.
By
Yeah.
the
I
way,
was actually.
I'm assuming the podcast you have started, so I'm just or
No, no,
you want to
it'll,
officially start it?
yeah, we can officially start. Like, but I actually like unscripted kind of a thing. I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of unscripted kind of podcasts where there's no kind of formal back and forth. I just like these kind of discussions, like the discussion I had with Ankit. Ankit
Hmm.
from Bioshala. That was amazing discussion. Like there was no preparation done, and we actually talked for 2.5 hours, and then I realized, oh, we haven't recorded the actual final intro. So then
Oh.
I said, okay, let it be. Doesn't matter. Then I recorded a separate intro. So I actually enjoy, and I think the same way for audience. I think people are starting to get away from kind of cookie cutter kind of a thing, like everybody is doing the same things, right? So
Hmm.
the more unscripted we can go from things, the better it is, in my opinion, because that's when our true personality, the true nature actually comes forth.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I was making videos, the first 20-30 videos, I was so artificial, and the same goes with every creator. Like it was so artificial that I couldn't recognize that, oh, it's the same person.
Hmm.
How could it be? Like I don't recognize myself. I don't talk like that. So
Hmm.
now I see that, when I make videos, I talk like that in my normal way of thinking as well. I actually talk
Hmm.
in my family like that. So the more natural you are, I think people are going to sniff and recognize it instantly.
I'm not very sure unscripted is. See, I agree with you that the way you talk when you are scripted versus when you're unscripted is very different. You'll be able to tell the way, the tone of speech, all these things, they change drastically. I agree.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I'm saying this because I do both scripted and unscripted. I do
Yeah.
scripted on Sciences Joke and
Hmm.
unscripted on DD Rational. Those are my channels if people don't know me. Um,
Everybody
and
knows it, but I'll put everything in the description, like, or the pinned comment.
having observed other people do this, I can see that there are people who have the ability to make their scripted content look like their unscripted content. And
Yeah.
I myself personally, I'm trying to learn how to be that way. So I'm trying to be how to learn how to make your scripted content look like something unscripted.
Exactly.
And when,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
when you reach that level, then
Yeah.
I would say scripted is very good, because the advantage of scripted is that you get to think when you're writing the script. You don't have to think on the spot, on your feet, as you're speaking. So you can think and choose your words carefully and then say what you want to say. And if you can make that look unscripted, I think that's, in my opinion, the best.
Yeah, yeah. Technically, I was talking about more in lines of podcast. But
Hmm.
videos, like, of course, we have to write script. Otherwise, we'll actually make fool of ourselves that we didn't
Yeah.
research properly. We didn't actually look for things that we wanted to talk about. So yeah,
Hmm.
in videos, definitely scripted, but
Hmm.
script as in like just the blueprint of what I'm going to talk about, the key points, and then I
Yeah.
actually talk about those things in my own way.
Hmm.
And in podcasts, like, we just go back and forth as like
Hmm.
acting, as it happens in acting. Like, one
Hmm.
person is acting, the other person is just reacting. So sometimes you have to learn reacting as well, not
Hmm.
in podcast, but in the world of acting. So the more unscripted, the more natural it looks. I think the viewer experience gets elevated. So that's the thing. But anyway, like, let's just record the
Oh,
proper
we
intro.
haven't started officially yet. I'm sorry.
I'll just put it here and there, so
Before
that's all good.
before we start, can I ask you, Ravi? I wanted to get to know you personally. Like, what do you do? I don't know exactly. Uh, so,
Yeah.
are you a research postdoc researcher?
Yes, actually, I completed my masters and then PhD in 2011. I am a dinosaur. So and then actually took I finished my PhD, and then I did most of my research in Canada, like one of the very good research institute, and like very good research group. And then I actually did postdoctoral research, and then research associate, and then scientist. So and then I did that and up until 2019, 2020, and then I started my own business. And then now I for the last 1.5 2 years I have this uh, uh, and I have a consultancy agency where I talk about educational consultancy, like consulting, kind of study abroad, career counseling. So I'm a certified career counselor as well. So
Oh.
I did everything, but jack of all trade, master of none, kind of a thing. I don't know anything, but I know
Yeah,
bits and pieces.
I'm also into fitness a bit. Like, you saw me eating a fruit salad a while back. That's because I watch how many calories I eat. I make sure I eat enough enough micronutrients and fiber and all those things. And I rarely eat something processed and all that. And I right now, the reason I said, okay, maybe we might have to postpone half an hour, is because I was in the gym in the morning.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah. So I felt it might be delayed because of that. So That's why I said that. And now I'm back. Now, yeah.
I'm so engrossed in my work for the last 5 6 months. Like I'm just doing back to back to back to back things that
Oh,
I'm unfortunately try to eat right still because
oh,
but I for some days I cannot. This is something that probably it's with me since PhD. So like when we
oh.
complete our PhD, that coffee and tea and this and that, like endless working hours. That's the
Hmm.
worst part of about PhD actually. Hello, Pranav Bhai. How are you?
It's so great to finally talk to you. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time now, and I've been seeing the kind of stuff you do with your podcast, and getting talking to people and introducing them to your audience. And I think that's something that'll help this community grow. So I think that's a great thing. And yeah, I'm so happy, so glad to be here.
Yeah, we are happy too. Like, thanks so much for accepting my invitation, and it's actually overdue. So let's just start straight away. And For the audience, this podcast is going to be in English because Pranav is more comfortable in English, and I'll try. And no promises there, but I'll try my best to put some subtitles. And if anybody can help me get those subtitles done, or if anybody can tell me like any good software with one click, we can do that. I think we can do that with reels, but not with long videos. So if anybody can tell me, please do that in comments. So that will be so much help.
I think YouTube gives you automatic subtitles for English.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure about Hindi. So
yeah.
maybe you can. So once you get those, you can edit some words here and there that are wrong, and it'll be easier. I think that'll work well for this.
Yes, they it does. Like when I make my videos in Hindi, so I get
Mm.
subtitles in Hindi, but I don't
Mm.
get the same subtitles in English unless I upload them directly in the studio, like when I am uploading the video. So I don't think that's the case, but I'll double check for sure. But yeah, anybody can help me. You are very welcome. So let's just jump into it. Let's just talk about how did you get started into making videos. Like I don't know if you have talked about this thing specifically in any
Yeah.
of the podcasts, but let's just in brief if we can talk about that.
Sure. So first of all, from a very young age, like 10 years old, I would say, 8, 10, I've been so fascinated with science. Like, I remember when I was a small kid, I was in my grandma's house or something, and I found this illustrated encyclopedia. And I used to look at these pictures of animals and different species and taxonomy of animal species and all that. And I fell in love with how much there is that you can learn, and how interesting it is to learn all these things. Like
Yeah,
everything, the way it is, the way it works in the world, there's a reason behind it, and you can actually learn all these things. And like my whole life since then, I would say, has been a quest to learn and understand as much as possible. And I enjoyed this process. And the sad part is, this same enjoyment side of learning was not highlighted in my school, in my education.
yeah,
Like, even though I'm doing the same things there, the focus there was on marks and scoring well and all these things throughout my education. But the things I'm learning, that's where the beauty lies. And there is no emphasis of that. And I I grew up seeing all that. And even though it turned out that I was also good in that system that focused on marks. I scored well in all my exams and all that. But I think the real value of science and the real value of all knowledge lies in the beauty, the intrinsic beauty of learning it. And this
Yeah.
is the beauty that I want to try and convey through my videos and my all these things. On top of that, there is also the fact that there are people that take advantage of people's uh, lack of knowledge in certain fields, certain ideas, to scam them, to fraud them, to defraud them, to you know take advantage of them in some way or the other. And I see this and I think, hey, there's this piece of knowledge that you can learn yourself by just Googling or reading this or that. And I'm sure any experts who would have learned these things would be in would fully disagree with the scammer who's saying XYZ, whatever. So why are you
Yeah.
listening to these people and going for these things? And I point that out and say such things in my videos. And a lot of people have responded positively. Some people have responded negatively, and I'm sure you can all see that in my comments. And I think there is some value in just showing people how these things actually are, how the reality actually is, and how much it disagrees with these people. And that's another thing that I became interested in. And eventually, so around that 2013, 14, 15, that time, I would also see the same beauty that I saw in science and learning and knowledge and all these things expressed by some channels like Vsauce, Vertashim, all these channels, CGP, Gray. I used to watch them all the time. And that same beauty was not uh, was not given to me in my education, in my schooling. So all this, all of these things prompted me to make or uh, share the same kind of beauty that I saw and the same value that I received to as many people as possible. And that's the reason I started out on YouTube. It's a long
Yeah.
answer to a brief.
No, no, it's perfectly makes sense, and same goes with me. I used to watch these channels and other Kirk's Gazat, which is
Yeah,
my favorite YouTube channel. Like
yeah.
way beyond, and I believe that it shouldn't be free. I would actually pay to watch their videos. So they are phenomenal videos. So
Mhm.
that's the same, like I got inspired same way, and I wanted just to same do the same thing in Hindi.
Mm.
Although some people might find it funny, I started making videos in English, and then I decided no, I would probably because I can speak both languages, I probably would make more impact in Hindi, because the Hindi heartland, even today, like there are creators, but I don't think the kind of videos I make anybody else can make, or the kind of videos you make anybody else can make. So our own personal kind of touch only we can do. So that's why I started
Mm.
same way. So like I wanted to make the videos I wanted to watch same way.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I didn't find those videos anywhere else, and then I started watching your videos, and I got inspired there as well. And still I don't see there are a lot of creators who are there in this niche, science and rationality niche, in India itself, and especially in Hindi or in English as well. I can only count on like numbers that these are the creators that actually make these kind of
Mm.
videos, and they are kind of their sole thing is to that they love science and they just want to propagate scientific ideas and rationality. So that's the thing. uh
And that thing you
yeah.
said about doing videos in Hindi, see, I also feel the same way. I think there's a huge audience that wants this sort of content in Hindi, I would
Yeah.
make them if my Hindi was better. I,
Yeah.
the problem is I can't converse in Hindi. I understand Hindi, like I've
Okay.
learned it in school, but I never grew up speaking in Hindi. So my conversational Hindi is very bad.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's the only reason I don't make videos in Hindi. However, now thanks to AI and all that, I've actually started a Hindi channel and I'm
Yeah.
dubbing my videos to Hindi
Yeah.
with the help of my friend Alfaz, who used to edit videos for me, and now he's helping me with dubbing, and he's far better than me in Hindi, and yeah.
Very nice. Like I actually watched your Hindi channel, and it's really good. And the way I think you are using 11 Labs, if I'm not wrong,
Hmm.
for dubbing. So it
Yeah.
is very natural. Like AI is becoming human like. So
Hmm.
I actually, if I didn't know that it was your voice, like I
Hmm.
would be fooled, because it's very less like machine like, and more human like, and it's
Hmm.
just going to get better and better.
मैंने इस बारे में खुद से काफ़ी डिबेट किया कि मुझे ये वीडियो बनाना चाहिए या नहीं, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि जब कोई व्यक्ति किसी बड़ी मेडिकल सिचुएशन से गुजर रहे हों तो उनको क्रिटिसाइज करते हुए वीडियो बनाना अच्छी बात नहीं है.
So let's just move on to our next question, and then again, let's just talk about belief systems.
Hmm.
uh, like, and we have to talk about belief systems that we all, even all, we are all scientific, right, at the core, but still we all have beliefs. And the people say, oh, scientists don't believe. Yes, they do. They do all the time. So let's talk about our core beliefs, that what do you believe in, and if you believed differently, uh, what made you stop, and why you made this change.
So I think the most important thing about beliefs that scientists hold is that when they believe something, that's something that is backed up by evidence.
Yeah.
That belief corresponds with reality.
Yeah.
Whatever they believe, if reality doesn't behave that way, if reality behaves a different way, then they would discard those beliefs. Those are the beliefs that you mentioned right now that we never hear about. So, for me, when I was a small child, I used to believe in superstitions, like harmless superstitions. Like, of course, I used to be religious also. I grew up in a religious Hindu household, but some harmless superstitions that I believed in are so I'm from Kerala, South India. So there's this bird that you see in Kerala. I'm not sure what it's called in English. In Malayalam, it's called Chembothu. And
Okay.
when you see that bird, there's a superstition that goes if the bird is on your left, that's bad luck. If the bird is on your right, that's good luck. And
Okay.
immediately you can see how this is an unfalsifiable, untestable idea. Um, and I didn't think that way back then. And whenever I see that bird, I find myself turning and trying to make sure the bird is on my right. Um, and yeah, it's things like that. And there's this belief of number of miners. There's a bird called myna. I'm sure is there in uh,
Yeah.
every part of India.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you see miners in a group, if it's an odd number in total, that's bad luck. And if it's an even number, that's good luck. So whenever I see minus and it's odd, number is odd, I'll just look around to see if there's any more minor to make it even. And yeah, it's harmless stuff like that. But also some harmful, some religious ideas I used to believe in. uh, um, where but I grew up in a Hindu household, and uh, Hinduism, like all religions, also has its harms harmful beliefs in the system. And I used to be subject, or I saw some of those ideas growing up also. And like, there was a time when I was around 17, 18, where I got out got free of this influence of my family and household. And I got I got exposed to certain ideas that made me think about some of these beliefs I hold. Is that true? Is that how it works? Is that how the world really works? And then that is what led me to rejecting some of these beliefs. The same way I said before, they don't
Hmm.
correspond to reality, or reality behaves in a completely different way. Then discard your beliefs. That's how I guess my transition happened.
Yeah. And again, like I just want to clarify if there was before what I said, scientific beliefs are very very different from uh,
Hmm.
people's belief, because
Okay.
there's a thing called scientific approximation, and it's actually very very different from any other kind of superstition or belief. So it's
Hmm.
actually very different. So if anybody is you know trying
Hmm.
to make different kind of a thing with my previous statement, I just want to clarify it here. So yeah, but everybody believes, that's the only thing. We are on all on this spectrum. Like somebody actually believes this, somebody actually believes this. But if you objectively try to see things and try to find mechanism behind this, and if you are free from superstition and pseudo beliefs, that's what we are actually trying to do here, both of us, like Pranav, and in my own capacity, very little capacity, I'm also trying to do the same thing here.
Hey, dude.
But
I think you're actually doing a far better job than me. Like, you know certain topics far better than me, and you do a greater job of communicating some of those ideas that I could never communicate. And the same for everyone in the community who is communicating science and rationality. I think everyone has their unique
yeah,
perspective, that or ideas that they can communicate better than both you and me. So
yeah,
every person who is a part of this, uh, let's say, community movement, whatever, um, I think everyone uh, contributes their own unique things. So I
yes,
don't think anyone is better, or like, there is no hierarchy here. Of course,
yeah,
subscriber numbers, people will perceive whatever hierarchy, but the truth is, there is no hierarchy here. The,
yeah,
like, at the end of the day, there is no hierarchy even between me and my audience.
yeah,
Like, I'm a person, they're all people. So the only
yeah,
thing is, there are certain ideas that I want to share with people, and these are the reasons why I believe those things. So if I'm able to do that and show my reasons, I think I'm doing my job, and YouTube gives me a platform to do that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and what phenomenal platform YouTube is. I actually wonder every day, like, a free platform, free for all, and free for creators. Like, we don't have to pay anything, just our time. And what whoever watches our video also do not have to pay anything, just they have to give their time. So it's just the time we are paying with. And time is actually very valuable, but it depends on person to person. Yeah, go
I
ahead, please,
will
if you want to
say
say something.
there is um, a small payment we do have to make to YouTube. See, we only get 55% of ad revenue,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So the
true.
rest goes to YouTube, and I think that's a fair trade, because
Yeah,
they're
that is true.
they have expenses of keeping these
Yeah.
videos, streaming them.
Oh,
They
yeah,
need their servers, and all
true.
those is expenses. The true zero cost free upload goes to people who are not monetized. They
Yeah.
get to upload as many videos as they want, and as long as they're not monetized, they get to freely store as much as they want.
But
That's the
those
thing.
people
And
also, like, I believe, when I was not monetized, I used to, like, kick myself that, I'm doing all this work for nothing. I do this work for like almost pennies now. But still, YouTube does not pay, guys. Like, YouTube does not pay that much like what you would earn from somebody, some other kind of a job. I always say that. But इसको एक हिंदी में बोलते हैं, दुखती रग पर हाथ रख दिया, like, you pinched my sensitive nerve. So that is the thing, like, kind of
pinch my.
sensitive nerve. Like, I don't know the exact
Okay, okay.
nuance in English. Like, इस हिंदी में बोलते हैं दुखती रग पर हाथ धर दिया, as in, like, if somebody says something that you are very sensitive about. Like, for example, YouTube does not pay that much to creators, and especially in India, where ad revenues are at all time low, because advertisers do not pay that much in India for Indian audience because of the sheer
Yeah.
size of our population and number of content creators. But as opposed to in Canada or United States or Nordic countries like Sweden, Norway, where, like, it's 15-20 times the ad revenue goes for the same quality or same type of videos. So same thing. So Indian YouTubers technically do not make that much as compared to other YouTubers, which
Yeah, in
yeah.
India, this entire YouTube creator industry runs on sponsorships.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
that's a thing that people, I want people to, like, all the audience, I'm sure, they want things for free. They want content for free.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when such content is sponsored, it's not technically free. They're trying to influence you with their marketing or advertisement and influence you into giving you their money, buying their
Yeah.
product, even giving you their votes. People don't realize that there's this cost to getting things for free. And yeah, that's what I want
Yeah.
to. I
I
want
I
to.
didn't want to go into that rabbit hole. Like, there's a whole documentary, right, on Netflix. I forgot the name. I just put it here. Like, whenever you do something, and you feel that it's free, I think again slipped
Even
from
I
my mind.
forgot. Someone
So
will
whenever
say, someone, if you remember in the
yeah,
comments, let us
yeah, I'll
know.
put it here. So whenever you feel that something is free, it's not free. You are giving your time, the most valuable asset you get, which is non-renewable. So that you can actually spend, and that's the most valuable. If you spend 100 rupees for something, and if you have to spend 1 hour of your time, I would gladly spend 100 or 500 rupees and not spend 1 hour of my time. So that's how, like, we have to value our time. But anyway, let's move on, and let's talk about shout outs.
Talk
Like,
about.
shout outs, YouTube shout
Okay.
outs. Like, I got shout out from this person who is talking to me, and that was, like, very, very phenomenal for me and for my channel. And the same thing goes with other creators. Like, Pranav did a video on us, and I talked about in previous podcast as well. And nobody does that. Nobody actually. We do not have a creator ecosystem in our, and we are trying to create one. Like, since the time all the creators that you, ironically, you did the piece. Some of them I didn't get along with others. Like, I didn't reach out to them, or we couldn't talk. But other creators, actually, we got together, and we are trying to create an ecosystem that where we actually support each other, and we try to be in each other's live streams. We do collab together, and this and that, and that actually helps a lot. And that helped my channel, and nobody does it. So again, in person, I want to thank you for doing that. And I would do the same for others in my niche, if need be, and I'm happy to do it. And I
No need
think
to
there
thank
was
you, but
no,
if
no,
I
no.
may say so, because I think in a way it's also benefit. It also benefits me. Like, if
Yeah.
this community grows and people want more of this content, I'm also part of this community. So the community growing indirectly also benefits me. Yeah, man. And I would say it's just my way of you know I've gotten to see a lot of creators. um, Maybe I personally have, but you have not interacted with, say, someone else in that
Yeah.
whoever I shout out. The thing is, all these people are reaching out to me or visible to me only. I want them to be visible to each other and to more
Mm-hmm.
people.
True.
And yeah, I think that itself is what will help everyone grow. And I really like the way you use that. Like, among all the creators that I called out or shouted out in that video, I think you have leveraged that momentum the most, like your growth in comparison to everyone else. And I'm not saying that they're doing a bad job or
No, no, no,
whatever.
no.
They're doing a great job in their
Absolutely.
own way. But I
Absolutely.
think the way you have leveraged that momentum, I really like what I see. So yeah.
Yeah, whenever I see any opportunity, I grab it with both hands. That's my old habit. Yeah, and I actually felt really happy when Dhruv Rathi, the pinnacle, the magnum opus, gave our very own Pranav shout out in one of the videos. I actually felt like a personal win.
इन चीजों पर सवाल मत करना, नहीं तो आप एंटी हिंदू बन जाओगे। साइंस इज डोप जैसे यूट्यूब चैनल्स हैं जो इन स्यूडो साइंटिफिक क्लेम्स को डिबंक करते हैं, इन झूठों को पकड़ते हैं, लेकिन ऐसे झूठ पकड़ना आसान नहीं है।
That huge creators like Dhruv Rathi actually acknowledge us like kind of a community. I feel I am a part of this community, or Wimho for that matter. When one of Wimho's videos got viral, it kind of felt like a personal win because I hugely admire Wimho as well, and I think he's very underrated creator, and he should have. Hundreds of thousands of subscribers by now. So like these kind of creators, you or Wimho or Bioshala or everybody else who's doing this job should be actually regarded and credited more for their work that people give credit to us or them or anybody else, because it's a very tough niche to crack into actually, because there's a huge market for other kind of pseudo claims or pseudo sciences or everything else, or kind of any kind of thing that does not require that much effort. And we were talking about that in last night's stream in Sparsh's channel. So one lady came in and she said, I watch your videos, but I don't like or I don't agree with you. I said, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You are, I think, part of a subset where to that subset we want to reach out actually. People who don't like us but still watch us. So that actually will create more impact in the long run. People who, because in our niche, it's like I love you or I want to kill you. There's no in between. So I just want to reach out to these kind of people, and if anybody is watching, even if you do not agree with my content or Pranav's content, please watch it just for the sake of watching. And if you like, kind of watch 5-10 videos, and if you find nothing, I would be okay. But if you like even one good thing, I would be very, very happy, and I think our work would be fulfilled. So yeah, thank you for that person who said that.
One comment I want to say about what you said. Um, you said that it's a niche that's very hard to crack into. And in India, the science and rationality and all these ideas are not hugely popular. And I think one main reason for that is how, and I've had these thoughts for a long time, and I've said the same in some of the podcasts and conversations and all that. One huge reason for that is the way we are taught science. Science is seen even in schools as just a means to an end. Study this, get your marks, get your rank, get your college, and get your job. Then you can make money. science is just seen as a means to make money. Nobody cares about science. Like, there is a certain beauty in science also. No one cares
Mm-hmm.
about the intrinsic value of science. They only care
Yeah.
about science in I mean, they only care about what science can give them.
Yeah.
So,
True.
and what this has led to is people not like people not learning science as much, and that leading to all these scammers that that give ideas that go completely against everything that we know and understand, everything that science tells us. And a lot of people fall into those ideas simply because their attitude towards science itself is
Mm.
so fundamentally flawed for all these reasons. Now, this is just my theory, my idea of this. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how much of this is 100% of the reason, but yeah, this
Yeah.
is.
And the same goes with history actually. I realized when I grew up, I used to hate history, hate it to the core. And when I grew up, I love history to the core. Like whenever I read anything, for example, the book behind me, Sapiens, is kind of a historical record of Homo sapiens. And I love this book that I keep it just behind me because this is my favorite book of all time, one of the favorite books. And I love history, and I kick myself and want to not kick, but kind of tell my teachers why you didn't teach history like that, like Yuval Noah Harari does, or like in a very kind of our grandfathers or grandmothers used to tell our stories about historians, right? That was so much fun compared to there's 1713 this happened, 1814 this happened, this and that. They just tell about dates and nothing else. So it's so frustrating actually.
Teachers also see the subjects they're teaching as just a job. Like,
Yes.
the students now who don't like what they're learning in schools, who hate their schools, they're the ones, if they're the ones who are becoming our teachers, then of course they'll only impart that same kind of attitude they had towards history to their students. Like, if they
Hmm.
never enjoyed learning history, then how
Yes.
can they impart that idea, right? The same goes for science and
Absolutely.
any subject.
Absolutely.
And I think so. Finland, the way their education system works is they really pay their teachers well.
Oh
Their
yeah.
school system is one of the best in the world. So, what happens is all the best talent, all the people who enjoy science, who did well in science, who have done something, have accomplished something in the field themselves, are the ones who go for these high paying jobs. If the
Hmm.
same thing happened in India, it doesn't. That's why the system is in such a sad state. But if teachers were paid well in India, all the best talent went into teaching, then I'm sure all the, like, it'll be like a trickle down effect onto students, and we'll have way more talent to for everything else, all the other fields also.
I think it's more to do with the and it's less to do with the salary and more to do with the attitude that we
Yeah.
general attitude towards education, right? That our attitude is that get it done with, just mug it up, vomit it out, and forget about it. So that's the whole attitude, right? Like you said something in the beginning, right? I want to
Focus on
focus on
focus.
earning, not learning,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm.
I am a career coach as well. So people actually I cringe that much on another word, which is scope. स्कोप किस में है? स्कोप वाला चीज़ बताइए. अरे भाई, स्कोप, there's no such thing as scope. whatever you learn with so much passion and so much devotion, actually everything has scope. So the same goes with everything. Like if teacher actually transition their shift their focus from scope to learning, kind of wholehearted learning, then actually it will change. Because in government schools, like teachers are paid so much better than private schools, but those government school teachers they do not teach their students well anyway, right? They do not even come to the school. So I think it's more to do with the attitude towards education than anything else. Comments on our videos, like some people say that you make and you must have, I'm sure you must have gotten those kind of comments, that you make videos on so and so person because you cannot get views on your own, and that's why, like you are just targeting these people and making money from those people. So these kind of people always and my response before you answer is always that I why I do that, because the kind of misinformation they perpetrate in the society, because of their reach, it actually can do so much more harm. And in my own limited capacity, I'm trying to debunk it and I'm trying to educate people, because the amount of harm it does is unimaginable. Like politicians, babas, any other person who is actually just spreading misinformation on any kind of stage. So that's why we actually do that. I'm not targeting any uncles living in talking in living room and then they are talking anything pseudoscience. I don't care, because only those four people are talking among themselves, right? So that's the reason, and I would like to take your opinion on that as well.
So mine is somewhere along the same thing that you said. Like even I get I get recommendations from these same people only. So, and when I see the kind of misinformation they spread, of course I'm gonna talk about it. And like you said, yes, some part of it does come from the fact that or using their or commenting on what they said, if that's the topic of the video, of course I want more views. I want some counterpoints to whatever they said to get the same amount of traction, same amount of views as what they did. Because if I don't do this, and I don't see anyone else doing this,
Yeah.
the amount of harm that's going to come from what they said is so much greater. And to answer the first part of what you said, you can see my channel, you can see other topics, maybe on other people, or maybe on not on people at all, my own content, and you judge for yourself. Are they videos that do well? Are they videos that do poorly? Most people who say what you just said, what you said, the comments say, they are people who are fans or part of the cult or community of these people
Yeah.
who wanna put some hate comment or make some hate message or put something negative in the comments that make it that invalidate whatever you're saying. See, the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that can invalidate whatever I'm saying or whatever any critic is saying is a direct argument against their point. Like what they said, okay, you're trying to get views by talking about this person. Sure, so what? Do you have, am I saying something wrong? Do you have any point that shows that I'm wrong in some
They
way?
cannot point it out. They cannot
Yeah,
point
yeah,
it out.
yeah.
And the very good sorry, I'm cutting you out,
Yeah.
but Arpit again, I'll just stand like circle back to him. Arpit from Arpit Explains actually told me a very good thing, that people go in bhakti mode.
Yeah.
For example, if you talk about any person, I don't want to name anybody. If I talk about any person, how dare you talk about that person? Do you know how many followers that person is? Do you know what education that person is? How dare you talk about him? These kind of comments I get. Do you know what education that person is? And people have actually these kind of people have. Bots or those kind of people who comment on these kind of videos, same kind of things, that he's from IIT. Arey bhai, he's not from IIT. He's just a B.Tech from somewhere else. And even if he's from IIT, does that give him license to preach wrong information, pseudoscientific information? Doesn't give him any kind of license, right? So that kind of sum it up, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Ultimately, these are all fallacious arguments. Like what you just said. Like so the example you just gave is an appeal to authority.
Yeah,
Someone is not right simply because they have this authority or they have this qualification or education or whatever. Uh, they right purely on the merit of the content of what they said. And if
yeah,
that is wrong, then that is what I'm trying to point out, giving my reasons, backing up whatever I'm saying. If you think I'm wrong, tell me what in my point is wrong or argue against my point. Don't give
yeah,
me uh, these fallacious replies, responses like, hey, you using him to gain views. I
yeah.
mean,
They actually
even if
cannot
that's
find
true,
these pointers.
yeah,
They cannot
even if
find these
that's
pointers.
true, that doesn't make me wrong, does it? If I'm wrong,
Yeah.
you argue against my point.
Yeah, they cannot. That's the problem. That's the frustrating part, that bulk of my comments so far are positive. That's a good thing. That keeps me going. But some of the negative comments, I see a trend that, what kind of scientist you are. You're just making videos and this and that. If you are a scientist, just go work in a lab. And I have stopped actually responding to these comments, one-on-one comments, because if I just make a video whenever I feel that these are too much, I make a video and then I respond to all these bulk comments, because at least I get a video out of it, nothing else. Then yeah, so that's the bulk of it I get, and I think these are the bots, and YouTube does not do much, but only thing I can do is I just put some keywords that if somebody does these kind of say these kind of keywords in the comments, automatically flushes them out of the system. So that's what I do these days. But the thing is, like, yeah, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
I let them put their hate comment. I don't
Yeah.
delete any comments. I don't, because that is engagement for me. More comments means my the algorithm will push my video. Uh, so I
Yes.
don't mind people putting hate comments, and anyone who can see the value of what I'm saying will see that this comment is from someone who hates the message I'm saying, not the content, but whoever the message is against, all these things. So they can
Yeah.
recognize when a valid criticism is there in the comments.
Yeah, I also put these kind of comments, and the good thing is, and I'm very proud of it, that people on my behalf actually debunk their claims, and
Yeah.
that's what I like about these kind of comments. But there are some kind of comments, they are so derogatory, and they talk about personal stuff. I instantly delete them. Like, I don't want these kind of abuse ever and that's I have put in the channel guidelines. YouTube has started channel guidelines, so at least for live now, that you can you cannot have derogatory or abusive comments, so that will be instantly deleted from my channel. I don't want any kind of these kind of comments there, even if they point out anything. I say, just if you want to point out in a respectful manner, otherwise you are out of my channel. Yeah. So the follow up question is, isn't it, for me, it actually feels sometimes it's too taxing sometimes, it's on the hamster wheel. And I'm talking about content creation, not the comment part. We have come out of that. So the content creation sometimes, and because you must be in the same boat, like we have to be on this hamster wheel, and if we get off it, we lag behind. Not lag behind in terms of an like kind of a race, in our own kind of own pace. So I want to talk about the mental health for creators and watchers, like YouTube watchers, like our audience as well. So in my case, reading is my only solace. Like when I read amazing books, I like kind of escape to this kind of reality.
Oh, it's going to be a long answer. So there was a phase for me where I used to try and generate content every week. Like I'll sit and write and think about all these aspects of the script that makes the video perform for the algorithm. Things like making sure the hook is good, making sure the story structure something that will increase retention, all these things. The thing is that 1 month where I made 5 really good videos, that month was the most exhaustive for me. I got so tired, like I wanted to sleep for like 3 4 days straight. It was that tired. Like even now, I'm still experimenting on this. I'm still not sure what's the right best way or something. I'm working on trying to create just like one video per month, but that one
Okay.
video has to be so good it gets you the same amount of views or revenue or whatever as four mediocre videos. One great video is the same as 4 or 5 or maybe even 10 mediocre videos. And the thing about great videos is that
Yeah.
in the long run they're like evergreen. They bring more viewers onto the channel maybe 1 year 2 years down the line. But
But I have a follow up question before you continue. How YouTube is still very unpredictable kind of a thing. The videos which I thought are mind blowing, I put my heart and soul to it, didn't perform well. Same probably goes for your content. Like what you think is a mind blowing or like kind of a evergreen might not get views. What in that case? Like what would you do that? What would you do
so,
then?
so I think it is predictable. But we feel it's unpredictable because we don't know which are those factors that make it perform well. Sometimes in those videos where we don't think it will perform well, we have done those factors really well. Maybe we made a really good hook, maybe we chose a really good topic, maybe the structure of the video is really good that it increases retention, maybe the thumbnail was really good, maybe the title was really good. The sad part is there's no single factor that completely determines whether your video will be good or not. There
Yeah.
are these small factors in combination. If it's like if each of the factors has some weightage of 10%, 20%, if your total from all the factors is some 80, 90%, then your video will be good. But uh, even if you work or you put in a lot of effort, but you don't pay attention to these factors, then that video which you thought will do well won't do well. My lately my objective, my quest has been to try and understand what these factors are. And like you might notice that in my video I experiment a lot. Okay, I try and make sure, okay, what was, so if a video doesn't do well, it's not like that's a waste. There is a learning opportunity in that video.
Yeah.
There is something you can learn about. Hey, what are the things that worked in this video, what made it not work. So
Yeah.
in my last video, for example, I made a video on Ganesha idol drinking milk. That story. So I'm working on a lot of aspects of story. I'm working on title, thumbnail. I'm working on making a really good hook. Working on story structure that will improve retention a lot. The and slowly I'm figuring out, hey, these are the things that make a video do well. The last video didn't do well. This factor I didn't focus on too much in that video. That may be why it didn't do well. Next time I'm gonna experiment by improving that factor while still improving all the other factors I figured out along the way. The sad part is there are so many factors that determine the outcome that it's very hard to make a single video and make all your learnings from that video. So for me, it's been all the videos I cumulatively that I've made in the past, they all tell me, hey, do this, this, focus on this, not that. So I'm slowly trying to figure out what are these things. And yeah, you can see how my next video performs. I've tried to, pay attention to all these factors, and yeah.
But one video a month, isn't it too less? And like some of your audience might want more of your content, right? So isn't it a risk that your audience would say that that like I'm not getting enough from Science is Dope? So but your second channel is there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one
So
thing I do is one. So regarding what you said, one thing
yeah,
I do is, yes, in my second channel I try to make more frequent
more.
content
Yeah.
as often as possible. Maybe I do my regular or frequent videos on my second channel, but
Yeah.
sometimes if I have to focus and sit and write, I will spend some time on my main channel. And like you said, I used to think that one video a month is very bad for the audience or very bad for the algorithm. But I've seen channels do really well by uh,
Yeah.
uploading less frequent videos. There's
Yeah.
a channel called Kamdev in India only.
Hmm.
He made a
Yeah.
video on
Yeah.
Sadhguru and that
I
got
know.
taken down.
Yeah.
He's a really good friend of mine. I've talked to him also. And he makes videos only like once in 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And every video gets like
Millions.
700, 800K, 1 million, 2 million views. So clearly, even if you make very few videos, if your video is really good, it can get views. So
Yeah.
my focus is slowly shifting in that direction to make fewer videos, but each video I make, I put a lot of effort and thought and energy in script writing and all these things.
I love all your videos. No surprise there. I like your videos, but I absolutely loved one of your videos, and I talked about in I think one of my videos or podcasts that was how to develop rational thinking, logical thinking for kids, because this is very personal. Close to home topic to me, like how to actually imbibe those rational thinking in kids, how actually religion plays with their emotion, like fundamental human emotions, right, like fear and greed, and how to get all this away. And because sometimes intelligent people, most of the times intelligent people also fall prey to these things, like you see comments again, circling back to comments that I'm a doctor and I know what this baba is saying is right, I'm a scientist and I know what this baba is saying is right. So all these things circle back to things like all those people, when they go back to home, they actually preach the same thing to their kids, that do this, and the reason I don't know, but do this, and something good will happen to you. So how if in a nutshell, if you can talk about that, because this topic is, I really care about this topic, how to actually imbibe rational thinking in kids. So we can talk about that for a few minutes.
Yeah, dude. In my opinion, the reason religion still exists is only because of childhood indoctrination. We are born into this world with a blank slate, and we
Yeah.
have, like, you can observe a child, a baby, doing whatever. Let's say they're throwing something, they're learning to walk, they're, you know, taking a bath in a bathtub or whatever. They learn things like, hey, this thing floats on water, this thing sinks. Hey, when I throw a ball, it takes a path like this. When I stand and walk, hey, I can't keep my leg like this, I'll slip and fall, I have to keep it like this, or whatever it is. Thing is, we constantly observing and learning how to do things, how not to do things. And we have this capacity to learn through observation. But the sad thing is, we don't have, we don't have enough time in our lives, or we don't get enough time to learn every single thing there is about the universe. So we trust people around us to learn that from. So if they say, if so, I think this also evolutionarily advantages this trait. Having this trait is something evolutionarily advantageous to
Yeah.
for our ancestors. That's why we have it in us still. Like, imagine if you know uh, a child goes and plays near some river, and the mother says, "Hey, go, don't play there." He'll actually, uh, if he has the capacity to listen, then whether that lake has a crocodile or some other lake predator, river predator, whether it has that predator or not, that child will survive if he listens. But if he
Hmm.
doesn't listen, he will die if there's a crocodile.
Yeah.
So, we have this trait to listen to someone we see as a authority figure. That can be our
Yeah.
parents, our teachers, our gurus, or whoever we have in our society. Most often for a child, it's their parents. And I'm not putting any blame on the parents, because they're only teaching children what they've been taught by their parents. And this cycle has been going on for generations. The sad part is, even today, when a child is growing up, it's important to have parents instill uh, instill values and behavior and all these things, like this knowledge of good and bad. All these things are important for child. But along with this, they also convey some ideas, most often from religion, that skew their model of the world into thinking that, hey, these are the things that are real, these are the things that are not real. Hey, my dad told me that this god, uh, he exists and he behaves this way. He is happy when I pray, when I give him this prasad, when I do this thing, he'll be happy. So on the one hand, some of those ideas are beneficial, but on the other hand, those same ideas will lead to a certain tribal mentality or a certain groupism, where
Yeah.
you think that, hey, people who believe in these ideas are in my group, and people who don't believe are in the other group. And humans have a tendency to uh, be suspicious, be less trustful of someone from some other group. And this is what leads to all religion based violence. You can argue that other kinds of groupism like racism, discrimination like racism, casteism, even sexism is kind of related to the same thing. But religion as an idea, it poisons the mind, is what I believe. You can argue that there are good things also that come out of religion, but then you're looking at religion in a skewed way. You're only looking at the positives of religion. Religion always comes as a complete package, and when you look at that complete package, in my opinion, it's a net negative. All these ideas get imprinted in our heads because as a child, when we are trying to learn how the world works, we get these ideas at that stage. And even
Yeah.
when we grow up, these core beliefs, these identity that we form of ourselves or our group remains with us even in old age. And
Yeah, and it's very
that's my.
difficult to get out of the same mentality, like whatever the ideas we form in the first 15, 20 years. It's impossible. Sorry, you're okay?
Yeah, I was just coughing. I
Yeah.
think I that monologue took a lot out of me. Yeah,
Yeah, so the
yeah.
same thing is, yeah, a concept of like, abstract concept like supreme power in the sky, and concept of soul, afterlife, get so much of headspace, and things that matter, like climate change, how to be happy, how to actually make money and be happy. They do not actually get any kind of space at all. And after educating for 20, 25 years, a person does not know what is happiness. He probably knows how to make money, how to draw a salary, but he doesn't know how to be happy, and how what he can do. He's just like a zombie who goes to office, comes back, and that do the same thing, repeat, 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 kind of a thing. So I think what the work you are doing, or again I am doing, is something that will open their eyes, kind of see the objective reality, and see like even we don't know what is objective reality, but at least we give them a different perspective of life, right, which is unknown to them. So that's, I think that's where it is. What do you think about the fundamental argument that people give about and against God of the gaps, logical fallacies, and my favorite strawman argument all the time, that uh, about anything, any particular topic you can talk about. So how to actually talk sense into these kind of people, like how to actually talk to them, who are constantly talking about the same like kind of a thing again and again and again.
See, it all comes back to what I said in my last answer. If the person has grown up
Yeah.
strongly believing that, hey, this is how reality is, like I'll tell you, okay, I had a debate with a group of Christians a few, I think 1 year, more than 1 year back, on Discord. And they believe in the literal truth of Genesis, that God created the world in 7 days and we are all descended from Adam and Eve. All these things. Like it's so scientifically impossible to believe this. See, I'm not saying that it's impossible. If you think it's possible, then show me reasons.
Hmm.
Not some book where it's written. If you don't show me reasons, I'm not going to believe you because everything I have learned and understood about the world tells me this is impossible. Still, these people, and they're perfectly rational in other aspects and perfectly sane and well-meaning individuals. I'm sure they're good people. I'm sure they're smart people also. They're also educationally well qualified. But still, they strongly believe these ideas. So there are people like that who form these core beliefs at a very young age, and to such people, explaining to them why this argument is fallacious is, in my opinion, a waste of time, because
Kind
they're
of a
not
brick wall.
gonna, yeah,
Yeah.
they're not gonna agree with you, or they're not willing to listen to what you have to say. They have their guards up, they have their defense up, and they don't trust you. They think that you're trying to fool them, you're trying to get them out of what they know is the truth in their heart. To such people, you can't, you can't
So
reason with.
should we give up on those people? Like I because they are the largest subset of the society.
Yeah, yeah. I think even among those people, there is a smaller subset who are willing to listen. See, at the end of the day, you can only
Hmm.
try and reason with people who are willing to listen.
True.
To the ones who are willing to listen, that's my take. To the ones who are willing to listen, instead of saying that, hey, what you just said is this fallacy, try telling them why it's wrong. Why there is a problem with coming to that conclusion or reasoning that way, why that is a problem. And instead, don't you think that it's this way because of this reason? Try and give that approach, or even better, try and make them come to a conclusion themselves. Like, ask them questions. Hey, who created the world? How do you know it's a who? It's not possible to, keep a planet somewhere. I mean, there's no reason to believe that someone brought this world into existence, kept our planets in these possessions, our sun over here. Why do you think that? Why do you think that's true? Just ask them these questions, because then you're getting them to question their own beliefs. And the opinion or the conclusion they'll come to is their own thought. It's not something someone else is trying to convince them. It's something they concluded by themselves. There's a saying, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
Yeah. True.
The in I've always thought the only person who can change a person's mind is he or she
It's the
himself.
person.
Or herself.
Yeah.
Is the same
Yeah.
person. All we can do is give them information to help them make that conclusion themselves.
True.
So
True.
yeah, this is how I'd approach. I'd make them try and question their own beliefs. I'd make them try and answer by themselves why they believe whatever they believe, and make conclusions themselves. And if they need, some information to come to that conclusion, I just give them the information. That's what
Yeah.
I do in my videos also. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I believe also. Yeah.
That's true. And I would like to add a very concise point made by Javed Akhtar, that people talk to him that, why don't you believe in any supreme authority? That he said, because I think. Simple. That's a 3 word answer. So that's like a very, I think in a nutshell, that's what we can say. Like if you start thinking, then I think everything start changing.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
before we end, we have to talk about book recommendation to increase logical thinking and rationality, because many people have asked that, please ask Pranav, because I think you did a video on your channel, like top 5 books.
Yeah.
So please let our viewers know like what kind of books they should read for
So,
starters, like for beginners, and for like people who are reading right now. So
so I think there's a very so obviously, my first five recommendations are the books that I already talked about in that video. Those five are Carl Sagan's Demon Haunted World, then Steven Pinker's Rationality, uh, Stephen Novella's Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. One more, there was one more book. Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. And the fifth book is a more fun, fictional kind of thing. I think my generation really likes it because we grew up reading things like Harry Potter. So this book is called Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
free audiobook you can get on
yeah,
YouTube. And if
yeah.
you're familiar with the story of Harry Potter, you'll really enjoy this book. I'm currently reading that right now.
Yeah, Ankit Bhai told me about this book. That's really good. Yeah, that's
For young children, for really beginners, I would say for young children, there's a book by Richard Dawkins called The Poetry of Reality or The Magic of Reality. I'm not sure what the title is, but that book. So we spoke a bit about childhood indoctrination, right? Of religions, how religions try to imbibe in children these stories and these ideas at a very young age. This book is something that counters that, or and tries to show children how reality actually works. So that's what the book is. It's called
the
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 Magic of.
Harry Potter and Rationality. That's what you're talking about.
No, no, I'm talking about Richard Dawkins, The Magic of
Oh,
Reality.
okay,
So
okay,
yeah,
okay,
it's a children's book. Harry
okay.
Potter is more of a,
Rationality kind of a domain.
yeah, late teens, young adult kind of book. And
Yeah.
it's better if you're familiar with the story of Harry Potter for that book. And what other recommendations? I think any Carl Sagan book is also really good because all the ideas being presented in that book, he's also talking about how to logically reach that conclusion.
Yeah.
And I think that method of thinking, that way of thinking is what's the most important thing in logical and rational thinking.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, dude, I think that's all I can think of right now. You
Yeah.
can also add to this list any other than these that you like.
Yeah, I would say like the book behind me. Everybody should read this book if you have *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari, and I think there are other two books as well. His trilogy. Read these books. Like his way of thinking and his way of looking at the world is really astonishing. And the book above me here, Stephen Hawking, I think the big
And
brief answers to big questions. It's a very fun read. It's a very small thin book, so you can read it. Like it says big questions like, is there a god, will there be artificial intelligence like take over us, all these questions. Like he has like when scientists write, they write very rationally. Like they actually cut every point very rationally, like to the point. What about this and this? So these kind of books, and this book I'm reading right now, I don't know if anybody can see, The Courage to Be Disliked. It's actually written by two Japanese philosophers, and it's translated in English. So they actually tell how to be happy. So that book is really, really fun to read. I'm reading it right now, so I cannot recommend it, but this is a fun read of quarter of the book, whatever I have read. I read more of philosophy these days
Yeah,
to
I'll
just
try
get
some of those
solace.
books. I really like the Japanese author
It's
that
it's
book.
actually really fun book. I'll actually send you the link to it. The
Okay.
Courage to be Disliked. It's actually 5 nights. Philosophers and his pupil, they actually talk back and forth conversation, nothing else. So he actually tries to debunk him that you are a big philosopher, but I'll just shred you apart. And he says, okay, let's talk. I'll actually try to answer all your questions. So I like these kind of books where there's a dialogue happening, because there's no dialogue in our actual society. People just try to shush us all the time. So yeah, that's one my recommendation, among others. Yeah, thank you so much, Pranav Bhai. The conversation actually kind of stretched what we promised, but thank you so much for being patient and answered all of our question. It actually was really, really helpful for me personally as well, and probably for our audience as well who are listening and watching. So please do subscribe to Science is Dope and DD Rational if you haven't already. And I am nobody to tell you, but please do, and I would actually like it. Please do subscribe to Logical Cast, my podcast channel, and Logical I Am, my main channel. And thank you for supporting our channels.
Thank you,
So
Ravi, and
thank
I
you, Pranav.
enjoyed the
Yeah,
conversation. Yeah,
thank you so
hope we
much. Thank you
do
so much.
like that.
So
Yeah,
looking forward to more. And thanks, and enjoy your day.
yeah. Same to you, Ravi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.